the Niners, what they like to do a lot is they like to, stash these guys. Unless you're a really, really talented player, they like to stash these guys on the practice squad or make them backups. And then the next year. So this year, a lot of guys from next year, I do expect to be playing. So who are some second year guys that are going to have a significant role this year for the Niners?
I mean, Brock Purdy for sure,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's kind of
yeah,
assumed.
yeah, yeah.
um, and one I just mentioned, I think Marcelino McCreary Ball could legitimately take that spot that Aziz Al-Shair left behind. He was awesome in training camp last year. And, another year under his belt, learning under these linebackers who are already great. I think he'll look great again. So he's one. I also think Drake Jackson, he kind of tapered off at the end of the year, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's lack of skill. I think, it was reported it was more of a conditioning thing. And it makes a ton of sense because the 49ers playoff team playing 20 games
Yeah.
in one season, he's only used to 9 or so in his USC career, right? At most. So it definitely makes sense, if he lost some steam. Now, an off season of full conditioning, he should
Mm.
be ready to go. And with a lot of the guys that they lost on edge, I think it makes a ton of sense. Clearly, they have a lot of faith in Drake Jackson because, they didn't go as high on an edge as I kind of was expecting them to. So I think that tells you that they do have faith in Drake Jackson taking that next step. Um, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, I would have said Samuel Womack. Like, he's definitely going to get a chance to compete.
Yeah.
For that nickel spot, but they also brought in a lot of nickels. A
Yeah.
lot of guys to
Yeah.
compete there. So, he might be more of a depth guy going forward, but definitely can see him continuing to be a special teams guy for this team, which goes a long way as well. Um,
Nick
Danny
Zakel is a
Nick,
guy.
yeah, Nick Zakel. I mean, it's kind of weird to see where he fits because at first they
Yeah.
talked about him being a center, right? And then they extended Jake Brendel, and Brendel is kind of here to stay, right? I don't think he's on
Yeah.
a one. Yeah, so
I think they extended into like a 5-year deal. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, which is crazy to me, but yeah.
yeah, well, I was expecting like just a 1 year deal or something like that. Because I thought that, okay, maybe after this 1 year, we'll have Zakelj just kind of take that spot, but that didn't happen. So now, where do you put Zakelj, right? I mean, it seemed like they really liked him. Granted, he
Yeah.
was like a day 3 pick for them, but yeah, I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of optimism around him early on, and now I really don't know where he stands or where he falls. Um, Maybe, but good depth. He's
Yeah.
someone that I think they can move around. I mean, I think he did play tackle at Fordham as well, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, he
they
did.
can experiment. They can
Yeah,
experiment.
another guy that kind of Kalia Davis. I mean, they never
Oh
really
yeah, yeah,
invested themselves into a defensive tackle this year, except from
yeah,
Javon Hargrave, but he's not a run stopper. So I'm really wondering. I'm like, okay, they have Kevin Givens. I was talking about this the other night on my live, and I'm like, they have Kevin Givens. They have Kalia Davis. They have Javon Hargrave. They have Eric Armstead. But the thing really with the 49ers is especially their defensive tackles, tend to get injured a ton. And so it's like Kalia Davis would be the obvious one for me. Um,
yeah. That's a good
that's a
point.
guy. Yeah, that's a guy that I don't know, man. Maybe.
I mean,
So
I kind of, you bring up a great point. I'd kind of forgotten about him because like he did pretty much redshirt his rookie year, right? He was
yeah,
injured, and that was kind of the plan from the get go. Like they knew he wasn't going to play his first year. They were just going to have him rehabbing. So yeah, I am looking forward to what he can do at the next level because I honestly think, and I'm sure the 49ers feel the same way, I think they got a steal with him, honestly. And it's only
yes,
because he was dealing with that injury that, he had suffered the fall before the draft. That was really the only reason that he fell to, I believe, it was the 6th round.
Yeah.
So, talent wise, he's way better than a 6th round prospect or draft pick. And so I think he could be a legit guy, behind Hargrave. And they compared him to DJ Jones, who similar. DJ
Yeah.
Jones also a 6th round pick who they were able to kind of develop into the guy that we as fans grew to love, right? And so I truly can see something similar happening with Kalia Davis. And that's an exciting one as well. Jason Poe too, like he's a
Yeah.
guy who was like, yeah, an undrafted free agent, but everyone was like really excited for. So I don't know if he's gonna have a significant role, right? I'm not gonna say that, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he looks like in year 2.
Yeah, and before we move on, the real thing that with Drake Jackson, it's like the big scouting report on him coming out was they kind of they needed to like they tried to move him to linebacker, so he had to drop weight, and now he's been, like you said, trying to get his body right. And it's the same thing with the defensive tackle position. They really focused more on cornerback this year, secondary, which I loved. Everyone had been clamoring for that the last few years, but they really worked on that. And so they didn't invest a ton on their defensive line. I don't think these 5th and 6th round guys are gonna be ultimate day one starters. So Drake Jackson, day one, probably is going to get, and that just shows how much they believe in him, which is cool because the defensive line coach that we have is one of the best in the league. So obviously he's got to be really good. So, and I think he had talent last year because when he played, he made some plays. He was pretty good. It's just, yeah, I don't know what they saw wrong with him last year. So, yeah.